Lucie Stahl. I grew up in Berlin and I studied in Frankfurt and Glasgow. In my work, I use a lot of very simple utilities, like for example, the big works that I've made for a long time, they are all made with a very kind of normal bureau scanner. So I use a lot of materials that I put on the scanner, and then there's no process afterwards, so I don't use Photoshop or anything afterwards. It's all just kind of straight up the objects and the material on the scanner. And so I make a lot of these, I create these kind of images with a lot of material that I find on the street, or I collect a lot of stuff. I think that's a main part of my work, is kind of going around streets or finding stuff in all kind of different places, and then assembling it later to these kind of images. I make photographs of animals, mainly in zoos lately, and somehow the starting point was that of course the scanner has this layer that's dividing the image from the viewer, which is the kind of glass on the scanner, and it's also represented here in the layer of polyurethane, or epoxy in this case, that I use on top of the images. And so the photographs in the zoo, this series started out with me wanting to kind of like see the reflection of us humans in the zoos on the glass surface that divides us from the animals. And so this particular sculpture kind of is a reflection again of one particular image here in the show, which is this chimpanzee, and he basically strikes the same pose as that animal in the photograph. I think mainly the main point is thinking about, like the reflection of ourselves in these kind of like setups like the zoos, or this kind of like, really the whole thing I think is a kind of reflection of ourselves and how we deal with power structures or with geopolitics, and certain ideas with like really big corporations, how they affect us in our lives and how we could change certain things. And so in a way, for me, both the chimpanzee and the human represents a moment of reflection or of contemplation on these kind of matters. So that's kind of maybe the main thing that I would like the viewer to also experience while they're here.